It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports, Pete.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at a stop. I thought I was fine, and then once I got home, I realized it's a lot worse than I thought. I ended up having a ruptured disc. You say you're not hurting, and then an hour later, you're saying you're in all this pain. I just felt like most people would think that I was lying. And that's when I decided to call Daniel Stark. I owe a lot to Daniel Stark. They really got me what I deserved.
The difference is stark.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level when we shut down to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
With Ease US, make studio quality voiceovers for your videos online in over 149 languages and dialects. Never been easier to create professional grade videos and voiceovers. Try it today at easeus.com. That's EASEUS.com. Ease US.
Hi, I'm Mitch, the co-founder of Cake, a sexual health and wellness company designed for today and designed for you. Yes, you. The entire product line can be found at hellocake.com, and it's also available in every Walmart near you.
Send money abroad in just a few steps with Remitly. Sign up with your email, enter an amount, choose how your loved ones receive the money, enter your recipient's information, select a payment method, hit send, and relax. Download the Remitly app today.
Tervis is all about staying hydrated. Each product is built to last and comes in endless designs to match your personality. Stay refreshed and express yourself with Tervis. Visit tervis.com today and find your perfect tumbler.
Looking for tickets to the hottest shows, games, and events? Ticket Liquidator is your one-stop shop for great prices, no hassles, and guaranteed tickets. Whether it's sports, theater, or concert, for the best seats at the biggest events, start with Ticket Liquidator today at ticketliquidator.com. Ticket Liquidator. The You Like Air 3, launched in 2023, ushers in a new era of sapphire ice cooling technology, offering nearly painless hair reduction in just 3 weeks. That's ULIKE.com. You Like.
Hey, it's the Pete Sousa Show. Look, we're a little early this morning. I am look at I'm dressed up. I only kept the jacket on just for the start because it's really hot in here. But so this is the shirt. It's a collars shirt, right? And this is like I think it's like a Brooks Brothers jacket I got a couple years ago. I got corduroys on, right? Staying festive. So the reason I'm talking about this is because like I wasn't quite sure what to wear this morning because I got to do a hoops game after this. It's one of those like early day kids basketball games over at Baylor. And so, I'm a guy. I don't have I like to think I can dress a little bit, but I don't know what to do on a day like this. And I just went into the closet and got creative. So I'm kind of proud of myself. And I think it looked halfway decent. You might even say cool. So just score one for the good guys over here making good fashion choices. Hold on one second. just want to put this jacket over here. And Scotty Swingler and I get started today on the Pete Sousa Show. Early start, as I mentioned, which I set off a complete fireworks, a fire drill, because I honestly, they asked me to do these Baylor games for ESPN Plus prior to the season. And of course I'm like, yes, please. I did not know that this one started at 11 a.m. So we're going to do an hour this morning, and we'll do an hour tomorrow morning. And then Thursday and Friday, we'll be back rocking and rolling, but we may bump up tomorrow too. You'll just have to wait and see. It's always fun like that, but, we are definitely talking to Dennis Dodd, tomorrow about the college football playoff fallout, man. And, boy, it is wild. This is one of those stories, by the way. I'll talk about these guys in a little bit as I got my hands on my Eagles helmet here. Thank you so much to Slovacics. Thank you so much to Daniel Stark Injury Lawyers, Socorro Family Ford. Man, Socorro Family Ford, I think they might be working with me soon. I've talked about the accident I got into on I-35. It was actually right around West. So my car is at a tow yard, pretty much totaled. I'll have to wait for the official word, but it's going to be brought from the tow yard to Socorro Family Ford. Come on. We keep it in the family. And I guess they will give me the DOA if that's the case. And then we'll go from there. I'm okay. Was hit by an 18-wheeler, but I'm okay. That's a true story. I was, and I'm okay. Thank God. But yeah, Socorro Family Ford is, they're back in the mix big time with me personally. And of course, they are friends of the show. First National Bank of Central Texas, thank you so much. Okay, let's get down to business here. Pete Bavacqua, the athletic director for Notre Dame, as I like to say, Notre Dame. He went on Dan Patrick yesterday. And so there's a couple things at play here, because I will get hammered by, nobody out there is looking to crucify me because I'm just not that big of a name, right? But I will make statements. Oh, here's a great example. I'll read you something, okay? And I just thought of this. So this weekend, I called Seton Hall and Kansas State, right? So after the game, like a psycho, I'll go to my mentions, right? And I'll be like, let's see if anybody said anything about me. It's usually derogatory. Okay, so here's what one guy said. This is the only thing anybody said. So this is from a Seton Hall fan. By listening to this broadcast, you'd never know that these announcers were pulling for the Wildcats. Speaking of Kansas State. And then some other asshole chimes in case anyone wants to make fun of him, at Petey Sousa. I've heard some Homer calls in my time, but this one is super impressive, all things considered. Then he goes on to say, I didn't know who Petey Sousa was until I had the unfortunate privilege to listen to him simultaneously doing play-by-play and rooting for Kansas State. Guys retweeting K-State highlights during the game. ESPN loathes the Big East. Horrific work. Okay. At least we know where you stand. So I have been accused of being a Big 12 homer. Those guys are out of, trust me, if you went back and watched the game, by no means, okay? I do think sometimes as a broadcaster, you go with the crowd. And so sometimes it can seem like you are favoring the home team. That's not the case. You're literally following the wave of emotion in the arena. And when somebody on the visiting team makes a big shot, you bring it. And I did. And there's many examples of that. If you're the one person in a million that's going to go back and watch that game, which I'm sure you won't. But I've been known to be like a Big 12 homer, right? I say all that to say this. And also people get on me about being a Baylor homer. Look, there's truth to that, right? I am loyal, and maybe I work a little bit harder to see where my familial connections, right, may be right. I actually, to be clear, and I think if you kind of have an idea of who I am or you know me a little bit, I'm always looking for the good in people, to a fault, right? To a fault. John Tobias will call me, one of my best friends in the whole world, and he'll call me and he'll be like, he learned 25 years ago, I have a tough time saying anybody is a bad guy. So he'll call me and we'll be talking. He'll be like, hey, Puff Daddy, bad guy, good guy. And like, I'll right away catch myself like starting to hedge. And I'm like, no, bad guy. He's a bad guy, like, but I always try to see the good in people. I got that from my mom. And also I honestly think from a charmed, I had a great like upbringing, we all have our garbage, whatever, but you throw all your problems in the middle of the room with everybody else and you see their problems too. You'll take yours back most of the time. That's definitely me. So I had like a fun upbringing, and maybe ignorance is bliss or whatever, but I've always looked to see the good in people. So I certainly look to see for the good in the Big 12 and Baylor, right? Dan Patrick is employed by NBC. Okay. Notre Dame has a huge contract with NBC, huge, like monumental, right? And they have for years. I mean, I'm pretty sure since the early to mid 80s, right? I mean, I can remember as a kid, right? This is a great example. Turning on the TV, and it would be Tom Hammond and Bill Walton calling a Notre Dame DePaul game at the Rosemont Horizon, right? Both teams were, DePaul was on the other side of being a historic program. Now Joey Meyer is coaching his dad's team. He's not his dad's team, but he's now coaching DePaul in the shadow of his father. DePaul stinks. Notre Dame, as I remember, was a middling team. They were okay. And you got to remember, this is back when there were like 2 games on all day, right? And this is the game that you guys are bringing me? Like DePaul and Notre Dame? As a kid, that's like a brain breaker, right? Oh, but then you come to find out Notre Dame has a huge contract with NBC, and like they are now this athletic department that is seen as up here over anybody else. Like, as a kid growing up, like, a 9-iron from Villanova with my mom working there. And Villanova had won a national championship in '85 and was always competing, like Elite Eights, Sweet 16s. Like, for them to get on on national TV, it felt like a coup. For Notre Dame's basketball team, which for the most part was exciting because of Digger Phelps, and there was some success there, but they were on national TV all the time, right? But that was Notre Dame to me, right? Born on third base, thought they hit a triple. That is that fan base, right? And that is that NBC relationship that goes back since the beginning of time. So you trail that all the way back there, right? Where Notre Dame has been glad handing it with NBC forever. Now you go to present day where they're still glad handing it with NBC. And I understand that's how partnerships and relationships work, right? But I do want to bring some context to the interview yesterday with Pete Bavacqua and Dan Patrick. Now, look, Dan Patrick is by no means like a softball interview question guy. And he wasn't really yesterday, but he did not have the teeth out. Like, it was very clear that he was there to provide Notre Dame with a platform, provide Pete Bavacqua with opportunities to state Notre Dame's case, which is like, look, if I was anywhere near the successful guy that Dan Patrick was, I would do the same thing, So like, I'm not knocking Patrick, but I'm just giving context, right? Like, it felt like home cooking because he didn't press him on too much. He did when he said that there had been permanent damage done between, and this was a great piece of just Q&A. Bavacqua said there's been permanent damage done by the ACC with their relationship with Notre Dame. And Patrick right away goes, "What do you mean?" And then Bavacqua kind of like danced around that, and then they moved on to the next thing. But I was like, wow, Dan is like really like on Notre Dame's side. And at the very end, he asked one question, which to me, it was even more indicative of like the home cooking. And he was like, well, okay, well, what do you say? Fans around the country say Notre Dame's complaining. Like, what do you say to them? And I was like, come on, man, give me something more than that. Because the truth of the matter is, I go back to Notre Dame, their complaint of this whole thing, and it's to a degree, it's legitimate, okay? Like Josh Pate, who more and more I just look at with like, man, this guy's really, really good, right? There's a couple like people that are relatively new in my world that have kind of crashed into my orbit this year. Not that I have an orbit, but you know what I mean. The Bussin' with the Boys dudes and Josh Pate are at the top of that list. The Bussin' with the Boys guys are hilarious, and they're way cool, and they're just good guys, and they're funny. And Josh Pate is just like, he just delivers the cold hard truth. And his truth is this process is completely screwed up and it's broken. And it is. But like, let's not act like we're not all in on this. Like, people want to do away with those weekly shows where they reveal the college football playoff rankings. And that is like, so that's Notre Dame's big complaint. And I don't want to go too far down this road, but Notre Dame's big complaint is basically like, you let us on. You got our hopes up. Like, it's like, okay. And what, dude? This is business. Like, that's like the ACC saying after Notre Dame joined the ACC because they had no other choice during COVID, they would have had no other place to play games, right? After that process concluded, there was a possibility that Notre Dame was going to join the ACC, right? And you could have almost seen it as like, wow, we're very grateful for this partnership and for the opportunity you provided us this football season. Of course, the ACC, there's benefit, right, to having Notre Dame into the fold. But like, no, Notre Dame said, you know what? We're going to go back. We're going to re-up with NBC. That's our cash cow. Like, I didn't see the ACC like, you really let us on, man. You know, you like, our feelings are hurt. Our whole staff and all of our teams, we thought you were going to join us. Why did you do that? It's because it's business, dude. And so like, you can't have it both ways. So Notre Dame, literally, that is their argument. They're like, and this AD did a terrific job yesterday. And I did appreciate where he was like, look, we're not knocking the teams that are in there. They're good teams and good for them. Honestly, I will like point out the good too. There, not once was it brought up like Tulane and JMU, like the whole like, oh, this is like a reflection of society. Like this is DEI. Like take that to St. Elsewhere. Like I'm not here for that. Like I'm talking about, we have a setup right now. It is what it is. Does it need to change? Probably. Will it change? More than likely. But to sit here and think, okay, like, you know, they're moving the goalposts on us. No, they're not. Like, it's an ever-evolving situation. And truthfully, people don't want to hear it. But when BYU lost that game to Texas Tech, I'll say it louder for the people in the back. When BYU lost to Texas Tech, they backtracked in the rankings, which put Miami and Notre Dame next to each other finally, which brought us to results on the football field. I'm not sure what's missing there. And for a university like Notre Dame to go out there and, again, these guys were like force-fed down my throat on the black and white TV I had in my room with 3 channels I could get. 3 channels. And I've got to watch DePaul and Notre Dame play at the Rosemont Horizon. A nothing game when there were only 2 or 3 other games on that day. I was force-fed Notre Dame. They rammed them right down my throat, right? I said, no, even as a kid, I don't want this. This seems like a setup. These guys are already on third base. Okay? Like, so don't come to me at this point in the game when you go on Dan Patrick's show. Nobody, like, I haven't heard one person bring that to the forefront of this whole thing. That, by the way, Dan Patrick, a legendary prick when he wants to be, wildly talented and certainly compelling, but can be a legendary prick, would treat this guy yesterday with mittens, kid gloves, whatever you want to call them, right? Like, let's bring some context to that interview if we're going to go around and tell people everything he said. Like, there's no and I heard the guys on ESPN today, like it was Greenberg. Dan Patrick did a great job with this. Like, sure, Greenberg is less apt to get in Dan Patrick's kitchen because he probably knows the guy and he might have to see him, you know? I'm not going to see Dan Patrick anytime soon. And if I do, he's not going to know who I am. And he might agree with me. Like, and truthfully, I would stand on this if it ever was brought up. Like, but I feel strongly about this. Like, that was a softball interview, which is fine. But like, don't tell me all about the interview without bringing up that context. I mean, the reason that Dan Patrick was cozy with this dude to begin with was because he talked to him just a few weeks ago when Dan took his show to Notre Dame, right? Underneath that NBC umbrella. Oh, by the way, I call games for NBC. Like, maybe I should watch it. I don't know, but maybe I should bring this back a little. But it is what it is, right? But this is all something that I think we need to realize. Like, if we're going to put it all out there, let's put our arms around it, right? And understand, like, this is what it is. And to have Notre Dame out there, and to be pounding their chests and asking, why did this happen to us? It's like, dude, you guys have had the ball bounce your way your whole life. You know, it's like the kid who came from a lot of money, you went to high school with, who was catching all the breaks. And then, you know, he takes a job, and a bunch of people invest in him, and the investment goes belly up. And everybody's pissed at this guy. And he convinced everybody to make this move. And finally, this guy's got some egg on his face, and he's just got to live with it. Like, Notre Dame, you set this up with that week schedule. And yesterday, which was crazy, he referenced Stanford's really bad. Right, Scotty? They were bad this year. Yeah. I mean, Frank Reich, I know, did the most he could with that team. And you'd like to think that Andrew Luck has the whole deal headed in the right direction. I know they got a new coach, but they sucked. And so Bavacqua said, you know, we were right there with Alabama. We went out to Stanford to play a game. Felt like midnight, you know, did what we had to do. And, you know, Alabama, I see they're getting credit for going forward on fourth down. It's like, yo, Alabama beat Auburn in the Iron Bowl. You went out to Palo Alto and basically played tennis. Give me a break. Like, there's no comparison there. And if we're living in a world where you believe there is, like that destroys your credibility. One last thing, and I was talking to my guy Murph about this morning, just about sports and where they are in general. Heather Dinich said, and I was shocked by this because she said it on ESPN, but she said this process, she is worried, is taking people that love college football and really moving them away from the sport. Like, people are like, this is not what I signed up for, right? Like, almost in the same vein of coaches leaving the sport, like a Chris Kleiman, you know, like a Nick Saban, even a much bigger name, right? Like Nick Saban, Nick Saban would still be coaching today if he didn't have to deal with all this stuff. That's a fact. And I find it really hard to believe, I'm sorry, that Nick Saban would be out there. And honestly, credit to Marcus Freeman, he's not out there. He's not out there doing this. The AD is doing the dirty work, which I appreciate. But I don't know that, you know, a Nick Saban entity would be out there complaining like this and whining like this. Winners don't whine. They just win. You know, they turn the page. Like, BYU has won 22 games in the last 2 years. Every other team that has accomplished that in the Power Four has gone to the college football playoff. BYU has not. Like, it's complete rubbish, dude. If anybody has a case, it is that school. And they haven't said anything because they're class, because they're about something bigger than the politics. And so Murph and I were talking this morning, and I was like, dude, this is starting to feel like real politics, which is gross and ugly. So I think it's more interesting, and it's actually more of a positive, unfortunately, maybe just like the noises around politics as far as moving the needle and people being interested, right? I think Heather Dinich is right, and I think maybe I'm right too when I say there is still massive interest, right? But she's right in a sense where she says people are getting tired of this. Because really, I didn't think this story was going to be, I thought it would be similar to, and maybe there's 1 or 2 more days left of this. Once, you know, we got a break in between the games, right, this weekend. So it does give us a little bit of extra time to kind of bitch and moan. Because if you think about it, the way like the NCAA tournament works out is, you're bitching and moaning on Sunday night into Monday morning. Well, all of a sudden now we're starting the tournament Tuesday, Wednesday night, right? In Dayton. So it's like, it was a quick turnover. With this committee, the timing of it kind of screws them up because we've got a whole, 10 days or whatever, 11 days to sit here and kind of ruminate in this. And that's not a good look right now because there's a lot of complaining and there's still, Notre Dame is such a big name. They're going to be on this thing for a while. But you won't hear anything from BYU. I can promise you that. And they have a much bigger case than Notre Dame. Facts, right? Facts. If I don't know. So you can tell I'm frustrated. So we're going to take a break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk with Scotty about Baylor's new AD. I'm really interested to see what Scotty thinks about this. I think Scotty took a class from his wife. So Scotty may be like a little bit of home cooking this morning as well. But we always know we're going to get the truth out of Scotty eventually. We just got to pull the string because the guy is authentic if he's anything. We're presented by Slovacics. Thank you guys so much for watching. Seriously, it means a ton. People that like and subscribe, we talked yesterday about the college football playoff and we got a lot of interaction, man, more than I deserve. So thank you guys so much for watching. And all the comments are really cool, even the bad ones. And I even appreciate the guys from Seton Hall. Hey, they're watching, right? We'll be back after this.
It doesn't matter if your investment budget is small or big. All you need is Benzinga Pro and its powerful news alerts, price tracking, and portfolio monitoring. Subscribe now, and we'll skyrocket your portfolio today.
Experience with the Bosley MD hair regrowth kit was amazing. It was easy to use. It let me take off my hat. I could go in public and have my picture taken and feel normal again.
BosleyMD.com.
Join us at golfpartnerusa.com and discover why we're the trusted choice for golf lovers worldwide. That's GOLFPARTNERUSA.com. Golf Partner. Experience the future of secure private cloud storage with Internix. Protect your files with end-to-end encryption, ensuring your data stays private and accessible only to you. That's INTERNXT.com today.
Apollo Neuro is a new kind of wearable that helps your body recover from stress, that helps you calm down and feel better. You sleep better, and you can get back to being yourself. Learn more at apolloneuro.com.
Protect your online privacy with NordVPN. Browse securely, access content from anywhere, and keep your data safe with military-grade encryption. NordVPN.com. That's NORDVPN.com.
Our patented handles were launched in 2018. We continue to push the boundaries of strength training. Join us in making your training more natural and effective. Visit Engels90.com to learn more and revolutionize your workout.
Dive into adventure with Scuba.com, your ultimate destination for top-tier scuba and snorkeling gear. Whether you're a beginner or a pro, trust Scuba.com for the best in diving equipment and expert guidance. Explore now at Scuba.com. That's SCUBA.com. Scuba.com. At Fullwell, we bring together the expertise of registered dietitians, MDs, and OBGYNs to give you the best fertility support. Fullwell, your trusted partner on your fertility journey. Visit us at FullwellFertility.com. Experience the perfect blend of exquisite craftsmanship and life-changing technology with Gevi. Every product is built with precision, featuring specialized parts that ensure durability, efficiency, and safety. Upgrade your everyday with Gevi. Visit us at GEVI.com to discover more.
It's the Pete Sousa Show.
With San, owning iconic furniture no longer requires paying a premium. With over 15,000 satisfied customers worldwide, we've proven that high-quality furniture doesn't have to come with a high price tag. Explore our collection today at san.com.
At Covers & All, we've revolutionized protective solutions with cutting-edge, customizable covers, tarps, and curtains. We deliver premier protection at affordable prices and express shipping. Visit coversandall.com today for the perfect fit, guaranteed to last.
Relax with Hemp Delicious. Organically grown hemp, massively blended with delicious organic herbs, responsibly sourced for their holistic benefits. Each sip offers calming, antioxidant-rich wellness. Brewed just for you. Sip the calm with Hemp Delicious.
At Open Goal USA, we're revolutionizing training for both soccer and lacrosse with our innovative portable rebounders. Perfect for players of all ages and skill levels. Visit OpenGOAAALUSA.com and elevate your training today.
Get paid faster with Bill, the easiest way to send, receive, and manage your payments. No more delays, no more hassle. Whether you're a freelancer or a business, Bill makes payments seamless and secure, simple, fast, and reliable. Sign up today at Bill.com.
Stability.
All right, the Pete Sousa Show. So excited to be with you this morning. A lot of people were upset yesterday. Notre Dame folks were upset that the ACC network continued to replay Miami and Notre Dame yesterday. Coming up next week, you'll be able to see yours truly on the ACC network. I have a Miami basketball game. I promise I will not be besmirching the name of Notre Dame anymore, especially on the ACC network, because I don't want any more trouble to come the ACC's way. There was one other note or piece of business I had for you today. Oh, yes. The Eagles last night, before we bring on Scotty. So I'm not sure what's going on. The offensive line looks really bad. I'm not going to sit and tell you like I'm an Eagles expert. This is when I just go straight into fan mode. I'm not an expert of anything. But I go into fan mode. That's not true. I'm an expert on how I got sober. If you ever want to know about that, reach out. Okay. That's the only thing I'm an expert on. But I was watching last night, and like Jalen Hurts just makes so many amazing plays, but boy, he made a lot of bad decisions last night. And I wonder about that. Quarterbacks are so interesting because one or two bad decisions can like completely reshape the way people look at you. Jalen Hurts won a Super Bowl last year. Last night, he contributed to 4 turnovers, and the Eagles have lost 3 games in a row. Now, obviously, consistent bad decisions, that'll get you out of a job and out of the NFL. But I was moved a little bit this morning because he's making wonderful plays, guiding the Eagles down the field. They get that offsides penalty late. Owe goes offsides. His brother, Ortega, by the way, was a guy. He's at Kentucky. He's part of that situation that Mark Pope's working through because he's amazing. Ortega always awesome, the basketball player. But so is his brother, except for last night he goes offsides, extends an Eagles drive, right? And now I'm thinking, wow, the Eagles are going to win. And they Hurts is dynamic. And then the next play, he throws he's just throwing balls where there's more Chargers than Eagles. And I wonder, my one fear about the Eagles as we move forward, and the NFL season is long, right? And the Eagles will be in the playoffs, right? I bet on the Eagles in the playoffs. I really do until they show me differently. But the trend is bad. Something has to change because Jalen Hurts is more of, and I'm not knocking him at all, but he's more of a steward of an offense than he is okay, we need a couple plays. Let's go to Jalen. At least that's where that's what I think. Because the Eagles' offensive line has been dominant for most of the success he's had there, and they're really starting to fracture right now. And look, for any quarterback, when your O-line is not playing well, Eagles are dealing with a lot of injuries up front. Everybody's trying to play, but boy, they look pretty human last night, and so does Jalen Hurts. And you can tell. I love that guy. You can tell, man, losing, he hates it. He hates it, which I appreciate. All right, Scotty Swingler. Giddy up now. Big news yesterday. Baylor officially introducing their new athletic director. The press conference was later on in the day.
Yeah.
Right? It was what was it, 5 o'clock?
It was 4 or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
It populated on my YouTube feed probably around 5:30.
Mosley was here. We did the show here yesterday, and then he went to the presser.
I love when he
asked the best question at the presser.
Yeah, he did. He did. There were a lot of bad questions at that press conference.
Yeah, there were.
I mean, well, maybe somebody get Gary Baxter a beer, right? That's first.
Oh my gosh. No
his
comment.
first I mean, it's a reasonable question. But that's kind of down the line. I don't know if it's the first thing you ask at a press conference, but it was interesting. But yeah, Brian McNamee is the new AD.
Doug.
Brian, you know who Brian McNamee was?
No.
He was the guy that hooked Roger Clemens up with steroids. So Doug McNamee. I get that right. Cam actually got that in my head last night.
That's funny.
Yeah. Doug McNamee is the AD. Tell me a little bit about Doug and why he would work at Baylor, Scotty.
Man, so you want the bull case, not the bear case. Yeah.
Well, yeah. Give me the Cliff Notes on this guy.
Sure. Let me tell you, he was in the athletic department when I was a student. I don't remember interacting with him directly, though I might have. I did take a class in the communications building with his wife, who was wonderful. Half the basketball team was in there. It was great. That was one of my better classes at Baylor, and she was great. Their family's great. You know, so I think what everyone saw yesterday, and nobody really has any concerns about, is the personality, the faith fit, the Baylor fit. Like this is a Baylor family, Baylor guy, good person, good husband, good dad, like all those boxes, check. And I've known that for a very long time. What I also know is everybody that worked with him, or again, most of my experience with the basketball team, but basketball players that I knew when I was at Baylor, love the guy, love him, rave about him. And I don't remember exactly what his role was when, my junior year when I was doing this, but everyone had positive things to say about him at the time. I think if you're a Baylor fan who's like, man, we need to get back to the days of Art Briles winning Big 12 titles or Matt Rule winning 11 games in year 3, like Doug McNamee was part of both of those runs. So like the guy's been around Baylor when Baylor's been at its best athletically. That works in his favor. Pete, there's 2 reasons they made this hire.
Tell me, please.
And here's the bull case. Reason number 1, because Scott Drew wanted this to happen. Priority A for Doug McNamee is fixing football. And he said that yesterday. He knows that. The world knows that. No secret there. Can he do it? We will see. Priority.
I'm going to hold most of my questions till the end. Go ahead.
Priority B, Pete, if priority A is fix football, priority B is sign Scott Drew to a lifetime contract. This athletic department does not have a more valuable asset than Coach Drew. You just don't.
Yeah.
Not in terms of prestige coaching your sport, not in terms of relationship with the fan base, not in terms of ability to recruit and get talent and money to Baylor. Just think about the recent signings of NBA athletes' sons in 2 consecutive classes now. Scott Drew has turned Baylor basketball into a national championship winner in a place where NBA players are sending their sons to develop into NBA players.
Yeah, great point.
You've got to keep that guy at Baylor till he retires. Doug McNamee's probably going to do that.
Yeah.
So that's a win.
Iguodala's redshirting this year too. I heard that. Okay.
Yeah, which is reason we knew he wasn't quite ready to play, and that's reasonable. And
that's great. That's more.
And he'll develop and be a star down the road. We hope, right?
Yeah.
But here's B, the other reason he was hired. And I thought this as soon as the hire was made, and they said it at the press conference. They hired him primarily to figure out the money thing. That is the main reason you hire a guy who used to be a very, very successful assistant AD in your building and has spent the last, 6, 7, 8 years in corporate America business world. That's why you hire him, to fix the money, whether it's revenue, whether it's NIL, all of it, media deals, licensing. That is why you hired him. Baylor made a statement here with this hire to say, and Linda basically said it, by the way, at the press conference. We think that in this era and this emerging kind of college athletics landscape that is still evolving and changing every month, it seems, right?
Mm-hmm.
We need someone who can make sure Baylor is financially set up to succeed. By the way, it's working out well for Texas Tech.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but I got to interject there. That's apples and oranges. Does Baylor have the even possibility of generating the kind of money that Texas Tech did?
Yeah. Yeah, of course, the possibility. Will it happen? I don't know, but let me give you something Scott Drew said on Mosley's show yesterday.
Please.
That I think I think he accidentally gave away the playbook.
Okay.
And I don't know.
This is great stuff.
And I don't know if this playbook is executable. But I think there's a vision, and I think Scott knows it, and I think Dr. Livingstone knows it, and I think Doug McNamee's probably driving it. Scott Drew on Matt's show yesterday, we had him by phone for 10 minutes, and he said Baylor is the standalone Protestant Christian institution of its kind.
Yeah.
And there are millions of dollars.
Oh, man. I see where this is going.
In businesses. And he explicitly named, and we all know this, right? Hobby Lobby, Chick-fil-A, and then he said, and others, that if we can convince them of the value of Baylor University as a Christian institution, they can start contributing to this. I don't think that's like the public playbook, but I think Scott Drew was kind of giving away to Mosley part of the playbook, right? And so
because that's exactly what our friends at BYU do.
Correct. And so here's the thing. Those aren't Baylor people.
And it's, by the way, it's not, there's nothing wrong with that.
Of course not. Of course not. Those aren't Baylor people. But if you can go convince just 2 or 3 of these big corporate players who are a little louder about kind of their Christian business, kind of like undergirding, if you can tap into even 1% of that kind of like money, you have solved a huge issue of how do you raise this revenue.
So,
and here's the other thing Doug McNamee said yesterday that I loved. I don't know if you saw this.
I saw the whole thing, so I think
they asked him about alcohol at McLean Stadium.
Gary Baxter did.
Which was his best question, by the way.
Yeah.
And he responded and said, every rock that can lead to revenue, we are going to look under.
Yeah.
So this isn't a like, oh, let's be super weird, super Christian, so we raise Christian money. No, it's a Baylor is uniquely positioned to be excellent at athletics, to have an excellent athletics environment, which in 2025 probably includes selling beer at your stadium. Okay. For most people, that's true. And there is no other Protestant Christian R1 university that is also Power 4 athletic. Like we uniquely positioned to kind of be this like Baylor vision Christian thing. And if we can get some business leaders to invest in that and buy into that, we've got money.
Okay.
If we've got money, there's no more excuses for the football program. There's no excuses for any of these other programs that are behind, right? We can make it happen. So will it work, Pete? None of us know. We'll know in 3 or 4 years. We'll look backward and say, wow,
dude,
home run, or not great. But it's a vision. It's a strategy. I like it.
Can I tell you?
Yeah.
I love it.
Great.
I love this. Is the first time hearing of it. So there were breadcrumbs yesterday when Doug talked, because I didn't listen to Scott on Mosley. Doug McNamee mentioned basically the Power 4 had, let's say, 6 schools that are like religious affiliation. Like
four, I think.
4. Seton Hall, right? Well, he didn't say the names, but he said a couple Catholic, and I don't think
they said there are 4 that are religious R1 universities, which Baylor reached that status like 2 years ago, and competing at like the Power 4 level. And yeah, it was Notre Dame, another Catholic school, BYU, and Baylor.
Wow.
Which Baylor would be, again, the only one that represents Protestantism, Christianity that's not Mormon or Catholic.
Now this is where it gets super interesting, because it's different when, a guy named Doug McNamee knocks on your door. If you're, the owner of Chick-fil-A or Hobby Lobby. But if Chip Gaines is knocking at your door.
Bingo.
Or Joanna Gaines is knocking at your door, who this guy is obviously so close with.
Chip was sending funny tweets yesterday. Like, I think he's fired up.
Oh, dude, this is his great friend.
Yeah.
Correct?
Correct.
And Scott Drew, and again, you know more of this than I do, but this is the first time we've talked about this with our audience, pushed all his chips into the center of the table to get this hire done. Like, Scott's fingerprints.
And I should say, to be fair, he kind of refuted that on Mosley's show yesterday. He said, I didn't have to do anything. Like, we trust Dr. Livingstone, blah, blah, blah. But you and I both know David Smoke's not tweeting something like that unless there's some smoke. Pardon my pun. And And I know enough about the relationship those two have to know that if it came down to 2 or 3 candidates and Scott Drew was asked, he would have absolutely said, please hire Doug McNamee. And by the way, I hope Dr. Livingstone asked Scott Drew because again, he is your most valuable asset in the building. Like, and he has now chosen Baylor over Indiana and chosen Baylor over Kentucky. You better let him have a voice.
And for people that don't know, you know, a lot of the great success that has come recently, specifically on the basketball court with Kevin Young at BYU, has come from donors, right? Affiliated with the church who are all over the country and world.
Correct.
Like, so there's no borders to what you can drum up financially when you're looking at those entities that you're aligned with. And Baylor tapping into that. And I don't think this is like that strategy you said, if Scott Drew, whether he said it on purpose or by mistake, like if he has an understanding of that, then there's clearly been conversations down the line. Like I would think a little due diligence, like, hey, would there be interest by you guys at Hobby Lobby if we did that? You know what I mean? Like I would think there would be some of that, right?
Yeah.
It's not just like, hey, this is a good idea, let's go cold call. I feel like they might have some, you know, like maybe a Chip Gaines is like, yeah, like, dude, if you hire Doug, then we can reach out to our friends here and there.
And by the way, it might not be those two giant brands.
You know what I'm saying?
But just like your point out with BYU, there are dozens and hundreds of great, successful businesses and business people who would love the idea of maybe Baylor being a more quote unquote like forward facing Christian institution. You know, I think for a long time Baylor's been like an in-between kind of place for a lot of people. Like, yeah, we're Christian, but we don't really talk about it, and we don't really put it on Front Street because we want to welcome everybody. And by the way, I appreciate that about Baylor. I told students for years, this is why you want to go to Baylor, because they're not going to like push stuff on you, but it's a religious environment, you know. But McNamee said yesterday in the press conference, like, this is not something to shy away from. This is something to lean into and use.
Yeah.
Right. And embrace.
Embrace is a better word, right?
That's a shift.
Yeah.
That would be a shift for this athletic department. And in this era of trying to raise money, they are counting on it being a benefit.
And the time is now. Like, you have to act fast, because as this college football landscape continues to evolve, there will be a day when, okay, here are the haves, like more so than Power Four. Here are the haves. They're all here. And then here are the have-nots. And you don't want to be like a Baylor who could be relegated to that.
Correct.
To that other, like, okay, your football team is more like a club sport now.
Right.
Go play in that group of 5, like, world, you know, or group of 6, whatever.
So and here's so because he's got these relationships with guys, like he already knows Scott Drew, Mitch Thompson, Glenn Moore, Ryan McGuire. He knows all these coaches very well. Because he knows the institution, he can hit the ground running a lot faster than other people can on this too. In terms of getting Baylor in front of the right people to try to raise this money, he's going to be able to do it way quicker than an outside candidate would. And again, that I'm not saying he'll be a home run AD. We do not know.
I love the play.
The launch is much quicker now.
Yeah.
And I think, by the way, with Dr. Livingstone already kind of making this decision that Dave Aranda would stick around, I like a guy that doesn't limit what Baylor football's potential could be. This is a guy who has been in the building when Baylor football was on the top of the mountain, on the top of the Big 12, finishing one spot out of the college football playoff, finishing one spot outside of the BCS national championship the year before. Okay. He's seen it. So it's not fantasy. You know, sometimes when I talk about Baylor football should be competing to win the Big 12 every year, people are like, Scotty, that's too high of an expectation. You're crazy. I'm like, no. We've been there and we've done it. And so, and Doug McNamee knows that. So he is not, if Dave Aranda wins 4 or 5 games next year, he said football lately has been unacceptable.
I love that word. It's been unacceptable.
And that's what I've been saying, by the way.
Anything.
I've been saying that for 3 months and been called a hater. Thank you, Doug McNamee, for saying what's true. It's because it's true. True. And so, you know, like if football gets off to a 2-5 start next year, Aranda might be gone. And that's that's good. Like that's what we want.
No,
So,
you want the you want the threshold to be high. Okay, is our guest here for after the show?
He ducked out from in front of the camera, but he.
Okay, cool. So let me do. We'll do one more segment after this. We'll take a quick break, but I do want to tell you one more Baylor related thing.
Oh, great.
When I was at Kansas State, I'm trying to get in a shoot around. I can't get into this door, and this big guy comes up. I knew exactly who it was. Mark Vital. I was like,
yeah.
So he's an assistant there.
That's right.
Like player development. And then you also have Matt Driscoll on the staff.
Yes. Yeah.
Bill Peterson is on the staff.
Yeah.
And Hope
Baylor North.
And yeah, of course, Tang is the head coach. And they had a win last night. Their loss Saturday was ugly. No need to relive it, but they had a win last night. Hopefully they can get things on track because they have like Coach Tang he's got the right guys around him and his guys can play, but it was neat to see Matt Driscoll before the game and before shoot around and getting ready for this game, preparing like some of the guys like PJ Haggerty would be like, man, you walk into the building, all you hear is Matt Driscoll. Like getting everybody fired up.
He's
and just
intense.
it seemed he was that guy. Like I got to see it. Like he just walks out, he says hi to everybody. It's just good vibes, dude.
Listen,
yeah.
Scott Drew, we don't credit him enough with how he develops coaches.
Yeah.
Because when Driscoll left, and this was a long time ago now, like golly, when he went to North Florida, probably 12, 15 years ago, there was a dip for a year.
Yeah.
There's a dip. Like you don't just replace a guy like that. But then he did. Paul Mills. Jerome Tang.
Yeah.
Like there's always.
And I think that's what he did this year
John
with Ron
Jacobs.
Well, I think that's what he did this year with Ron Sanchez, by the way.
Yeah.
I think that's why their defense has been really good. I mean, they lost Sunday, but that's why they're getting better. Okay. Do we have the video of the cat ready right now?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's do that and we'll end the show. But so I want to set this for you last night because I want to end on time. So last night, excuse me, I told you I got into an accident. So I'm on the phone with the insurance people. And of course, I got the armchair quarterback, my beautiful fiance on the other side of the room, just signaling like, don't do that. Don't do that. And I'm like, would you stop? I got it handled. So I'm acting like a moron. So I get off the phone and I'm like, don't you tell me when I'm talking to somebody, I don't need you back there giving me signals about what I should do, like total, like egotistical moronic guy. So then she kind of was like, dude, I'm just trying to help you. Although she was a little over the top. Don't get me wrong. So she's like, I'm just trying to help you. So, and then of course I'm like, I'm sorry. I was just like, this is stressful. Everything's cool. We water under the bridge and we're sitting there talking and I was about to head back to Waco. And she goes, look at that over there. Look at that. And the cat drives Christy crazy. It has become, they're like, the cat loves Christy. Like Christy is the cat's mom, right? Like all it wants to do is climb all over her and like lay on her and purr on her. But it climbs on all the places it shouldn't be. So Christy walks around with this spray and just shoots it, right? Like she's the sheriff, the sheriff, right? Running around like the sheriff of Flower Mound. And yesterday, after we had made amends quickly, Scotty, let's put this video up. Will I be able to talk over it? Yeah. Okay. So put the video up. So this is what you can mute the video. Yeah. I know you can leave out. Can we get a little Nat Pop there? Because there was some interaction that took place. It was kind of funny. We put this up yesterday. And Christy's like, look what's in the tree. Hey, did you come with the tree? Wait a minute. What are you doing? Oh, it's the Christmas season, isn't it? Sprayer. I'm not spraying her yet. So you hear the sheriff? Sprayer. I got it. Oh, I give the spray. Sheriff's in town. Here we go.
Get down.
Gotta get
Charlie,
down.
you're going to regret your life right about now. Get down.
You got to get out of there, Charlie. All right, she's out. She's Don't do anything. I mean, cats, by the way, are low-key the most underrated animal. They get such a bad rap. That cat is awesome. And she's like nails, like she's almost like Mike Tyson or like a really good cornerback. Like she could get beat deep, like on third and long on the series we just saw. And then the next series, she's batting down a pass. Like, you want to talk short-term memory? These cats are the best. Some people might call it stupidity, but I love them. I call it courage. All right, the Pete Sousa Show will be back tomorrow. we're going to do one last deep dive with a very thoughtful, credible expert as far as this whole college football dilemma is. So you're going to want to join us for that. I am headed over now. I got the early basketball game, like I talked to you about, headed over to Foster Pavilion. We'll be enjoying that. If you want to check it out, ESPN Plus at 11 a.m., Baylor women. Other than that, thank you, Slovaches, and we'll see you tomorrow. Slovaches. I got to slow down. Thank you, Slovaceks. We'll see you.
It's the Pete Sousa Show. Sports.
We definitely love our relationship and love Extraco. It's been an amazing experience.
They made the PPP process easier. They were reaching out to me saying, what can I do to help you? That made a huge difference because my stress level, when we shut down, to afterwards was night and day.
Our experience with Extraco has been phenomenal since the very beginning, so we love Extraco.
Show. Sports.
Nobody tells our stories better than our clients.
The difference is stark. I was rear-ended at 70 miles an hour. I was injured, had a concussion. The insurance company, they delayed. They were playing games from the initial conversation. They weren't going to help me. The biggest thing I learned through this is that you can't go through this alone. I called Daniel Stark. They were going to help me, and everything was going to be all right. Daniel Stark got me 10 times the insurance company offered.
The difference is stark.
Show. Sports.
Our professionals are not only experts in managing urgent concerns, but also in providing top-notch preventative health care. We're proud to connect pet owners to a vast network of licensed veterinary professionals, ready to address any immediate concerns. Book your first appointment today.
Nalgene Outdoor has been your trusted companion, fueling adventures and helping protect the planet. We're committed to reducing waste, improving access to clean water, and providing simple, safe, and sustainable products for you and your family. NALGENE.com. We are Rogue Media Sports.